All right. So I heard your song Iconic, and it's pretty cool song.
Thank you.
And I think it's getting good streams, and it's being liked by people. So
Yeah.
even before I ask about Iconic, uh, you have been a, a fashion content creator for a period of time, and from
Yeah.
there you delved into your music side of it. How did this transition happen for you?
Well, I think it was, yeah, I think after 6 years of posting different hacks and really catering to what people wanted, I finally felt like it was time for me to give myself a chance and do what I wanted. When I started, I always knew that this was going to be a means to be able to then do something that I wanted. And I have a background with Bharatanatyam, which I think informed my love for music. I never thought I could sing. But music was always something I had such a deep love for. So I told myself, okay, if I start taking singing classes, I think I could make this happen. And I've always known myself to be more of an artist, someone who kind of alchemizes or is kind of an alchemist. She'll like take things from different places and put it together. And I think that's what good music is. It makes you feel something, but it's also a mix of some of your favorite things, some nostalgic things from the past, some modern references. And so I think it's just kind of a natural evolution of me stepping into my artistry and really not caring or doing what was expected of me.
Fair enough. And so, look, you've released four songs this year, if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
and this is the year that you have started uh, releasing your song. I'm not sure how long you've been making music, but at least you started releasing music this year. So, out of these four songs, the first song of yours came in June. That was the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to put your first song out?
So I remember first contacting my producer and co-writers on March 20th of 2025. And by that time, I already had lyrics written. I had beat sketches of like ideas of what I wanted it to sound like. I had literally clips from my Bharatanatyam Arangetram that I sent to my producer, and I said, let's use this as like inspiration for some of the Indian instrumentation to bring in. And so I had all the creative done by like March 20th. And so after between March to I would say about May is when, first I started with my co-writers who helped me develop melodies for the songs and kind of tweak my lyrics a little bit. And then, we took that to my producer and then we went there. And so I think I was done by like mid-May. And as soon as the song was done, I was like, okay, I think I have to put it out because a part of me was like, I don't want to lose the energy and freshness with which I'm approaching music. I know sometimes I get very cerebral, and if I think about something too much, I stop myself from doing it. So, and this was such a big risk, I think, to take something that for 6 years I've been doing that has been going pretty well. And it was actually, in fact, last year was my best year, but internally I was sensing I needed to change. And so I couldn't think about it too much. I didn't want to talk myself out of it. So then after, May, I submitted to my distributor and then June it was out.
So, look, you said last year was the best year. I think you have been associated with quite a few brands when it comes to your fashion side of things.
Yeah.
When and how did you mentally prepare to give something a slight switch off, if not completely switch off, but
Yeah.
lower down or taper down the energies at some place and shift your energy slightly at some other place?
Yeah.
When did this start happening with you, and when did this transition happen?
Well, my friend who is also a singer, her name is Stones. She recommended that I start the artist way because we've been friends for about a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years. The first time I met her, I was explaining to her some of the frustrations I was going through in my career as a creator in terms of there's only one thing that's working for me. I have to keep doing the same thing. I'm feeling frustrated. I don't know how to show my full self. I don't know how to show up as my full self. And so she recommended I read and start the artist way, which is very much it's a practice and it's reading, and you have to write 3 pages of journal every single day, and you have to take yourself out on a date once a week just by yourself. So this really helped me understand what I wanted to do. And I think I had practice in kind of like starting from scratch because when I started as a creator, what happened was I had graduated from college 1 year early so that I could take that 1 year to figure out how to make it full time as a content creator. figure that out. So I think that practice and like going back to that time, it almost feels like it's a new beginning this year because I'm like, okay, we're starting a new industry from scratch. I just generally don't know anyone in this industry besides my friend Sonia, Sones, who I told you about. And I was just kind of like, this is a heart calling. I can't not do it. I'm, you know, 26 years old right now. If I don't do it now, I'll regret not doing it. So having had that practice of like figuring out how to scale something in a year's time gave me confidence to do it again this year.
Fair enough. And how's been your learning so far in the music industry?
Oh, huge learning curve because I have not done this in the traditional sense. I've literally been recording the songs from my closet. My producer is based in India, so I send him everything, uh, via WhatsApp and Google Drive. And so it's been a very not traditional process to make music, but I've enjoyed it so much because I think it's given me the space I need to kind of like reflect and really, really go deep into the meaning of a song and what I want the song to sound like. So huge learning curve. I've never recorded like music before. I was learning about mics, I was learning about cables, I was learning about um, so many production terms like
Yeah.
formant shifts and a lot of technical stuff. So every single song, I think I've grown technically as an artist and also being able to think a little bit more about the production side of things. But I've always been someone that's been a writer. I love writing. When I was in college, I worked as a writing consultant as well. So writing has kind of been the easy part. The harder part was the technical stuff.
Yeah. Are you a technical person or you are more of a writer, singer-songwriter kind of a person?
I think I'm a little bit of both. I owe that to my content creation background because as a creator, it was literally just me on my team. On and off, I would have a agent to kind of help with like communicating with brands. But in terms of making the content, it was just me. So I would write, storyboard, think of ideas, and then I'd be editing as well. So having that background, I think, really helped because it taught me that you can't just have the creative brain, you also have to have the technical brain. So I think I'm a little bit of both, but it was definitely a larger learning curve on the technical side.
See, I ask this because you know what happens most of the times is when people think of music or creating a song or putting out a song, most of the people don't realize how technical production and mixing and mastering can be, you
Yeah,
know. And that's when you start creating song and go professionally into it, then you realize that, oh God, this is a completely different domain altogether, and this is way more technical than I possibly could have ever imagined. So
absolutely.
are you getting the grasp of production now?
Uh, honestly, I can't take credit. I have a wonderful producer. He's really, really good at what he does.
Hmm.
Again, like I said, he's based in India, and I'm more like the creative director. So if I hear something that sounds off, I'll like ask him to revise it. Or if I think a level is off, here and there, I can kind of diagnose something, like if something I feel like is sonically going wrong, but he does all the fixing. So I wouldn't call myself fully a producer. I think I'm like good at creative directing production, but I wouldn't, yeah, I can't take credit. I mean, he's really, really good at what he does.
Yeah, I think you're more, uh, I, if we can put it that way, if the term sounds right, you're more like a singer, songwriter, composer of a profile as an
Yeah,
artist. Then,
I think so. And I think not just that, I think it's so much of what I'm building, it's like a world. Like also visually in terms of like what I want the world of my artistry to feel like. Coming from my fashion background, I always start, after I've written a couple sentences about what I want the song to be about, I go on Pinterest and I create like a visual world around it. And so I think as an artist, that is my strong suit, as well as maybe just the honesty in my lyrics. I think those two would probably be my stronger suits.
okay. So I would like to know two very important things from you as an artist. First of
Yeah.
all, have you heard of Ina, uh, the
Ina.
artist by the name Ina? I double
No,
N
I
A.
haven't.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
listen to her. When I heard your
Okay.
song Iconic,
Yeah.
I immediately connected your sound to her sound. So
Okay.
uh, she's a very famous Romanian artist, and check her work out.
Okay, I
Anyway,
will.
so what is the kind of sound that you connect with, and that is what
Mm.
you are looking to put out, which
Yeah.
represents you as
Yeah.
Malvika, or as you may still want to call yourself, Style by Malvika, or
Yeah.
the 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 creator Malvika, which has delved into fashion, which is now delving into music, and possibly with a mix of fashion and music, like your Instagram profile says, culture as well.
Mhm.
So as a Malvika, the artist, in 360-degree terms, what is the kind of sound that you're looking forward to put out?
I think,
And
yeah.
the second part is that when you say that you create a vision board and then you want to put a narrative or a particular style of storytelling through your song, what
Mhm.
is that storytelling that you're looking to put forward?
It's so funny you ask. I have the vision board right here. So I've made this.
Oh wow.
It's kind of like I went and before I even wrote the first song, I kind of had a day where I went through a bunch of Vogue India magazines and I just started tearing things out and putting them on a board. And I was like, this is what I want my music to feel like. Because I think for me, being able to see it was kind of helped me think about how I wanted it to sound. So that's where I think I started. It's thinking like a fashion, more visual brain. That's where I started. And then, the first word I always say, I think cinematic and moody and a little bit groovy. I think those are the three terms. And then, of course, it has to have a little bit of my essence as an Indian classical dancer. I mean, I've grown up very, very close to the Indian culture. In fact, whenever like an auntie from India comes, she'll come and tell me, she's like, "You're way more Desi than the kids in India." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's just a huge part of me." So, um, I kind of give my producer all these different references. I'm like, this like part of my Indian classical dance, and then but let's mix it with a like this song by Kendrick is another great inspiration that we can use. So kind of mixing inspirations and really again, I think cinematic, moody, groovy is kind of the vibe, and I think the moody part comes in the lyrics. The cinematic part comes in the instrumental, and the groovy part comes in the instrumental as well. And I think just generally, my music is geared towards, um, I think deep thinkers, people that maybe overthink sometimes, like me, who are slightly more tuned into the emotion, their own emotions, and aren't just looking for music that doesn't mean something. I think, people that seek meaning in music would probably be more my audience.
Fair enough. Uh, you have mentioned that you are pretty much connected with Indian culture. You're taking inspirations from possibly the Indian roots of yours. What are those inspirations that you end up
Yeah.
deriving from the Indian roots, and what kind of artists do you derive inspirations from?
Ooh, lovely question. Okay. So I wouldn't say just Indian, let's say South Asian in general. I love like all of Rahat Fateh Ali Khan's, uh, older Bollywood songs like, what was I listening to yesterday? Like Ore Pia and like all these beautiful songs, like very soulful songs. I really, really enjoyed those. So I think that comes out in my melodies and my lyrics a little bit more, the soulful side, the more introspective, emotional side. And then I mean, I love the Bollywood dance number, so that's fun. I think that came out more in Iconic because Iconic is a dance pop song. And then in terms of instruments, like, in my song Spiraling, my producer put in the mridangam in the instrumental, and I think that was a huge part of who I was as a Bharatanatyam dancer. Tabla comes in and out of different songs of mine. Um, and yeah, so I think, it's a mix of soulful Bollywood, dancey Bollywood, and then my Indian classical, Bharatanatyam music.
So, which all artists do inspire you? Which all artists inspire you?
Ooh, so many. I love, so there's one album that I think really, really stays with me lyrically, which is Drake's Take Care album. It's a very strange one. When people look at me, they're like, we would not peg you for someone that likes that. But I like that album a lot because it's, again, very cinematic, moody, and the lyrics are just straight up honest. Like they're not sugarcoating anything. It's not commercial. It's very just like I'm speaking to you almost. So I love that album. That album has a huge, that's a huge influence for me. Um, and then melodies wise, I love uh, a couple people. Like I think Atif Aslam has beautiful, soulful melodies. Some of Shankar Ehsaan Loy's music is amazing as well. Um, yeah, I think there's so many. I can't choose one, but these are some of them.
Okay. So, as an artist, as an Indian origin artist in the US, I'm assuming you're born in the US, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, as an Indian origin artist, as an Indian origin American artist, um, what is the dichotomy that you face
Mm.
being an Indian, rooted to your Indian culture,
Yeah.
but westernized at the same time, and trying to put this all out in your work?
I think earlier, if you asked, I always felt like I had to choose. It was either or.
No, you don't have to
Now, as I've
choose.
grown, huh?
You don't have to choose, right?
Exactly. And I've learned growing up that it's more of an and. It's less like when I'm hanging out with my, American friends that I have to be super American and I have to hide my Indianness. In high school, you sometimes feel like, my mom has sent me thepla for lunch, so I'm gonna like not eat it because, or I'll go like somewhere else and eat it because, everyone else is having something else. I
Yeah.
faced a lot of that kind of stuff growing up. Also, like, my friends wouldn't understand the family values as well. Like, my friends wouldn't understand, you know, staying home and like helping my mom with certain things, or because there's a lot of just difference in the way an immigrant child is raised with slightly different family values than maybe someone who, is completely American. So it was tough because I felt like I was always, there's one way you can live or there's another way. And now it's more, as I've grown up, I've integrated both parts and kind of figured out the life that works for me and um the expression that works for me as well. But yeah, I think what I really want people to know with my music is like, because I throw so many different things in there, it's like making a mixed vegetable sabji with like all these, different ingredients and all the spices and everything. I want people to know that being cross-cultural or like having multiple facets to you is actually an advantage. It's not a disadvantage. And boxing yourself into category, even a music genre, even, I don't think it's necessary. I really wish people would embrace more of who they are.
That's a fair point, and that's the only. I think that's the only way to go, because that's the most authentic way to put yourself out and put your creative work out. Otherwise, the originality is gone, and then you are just trying to pretend. And
Yeah.
I think the more you will put your music out, the more people will connect with you. And unless and until you are yourself and you are authentic, it it will be picked very soon. And
Yeah.
and in a way, when you are possibly trying to delve into two markets, I'll call them markets commercially, they are the markets basically, US and India, and both markets will pick what they want to choose from you. And
Yeah.
you possibly are in a good situation also, in a precarious situation also, what to do. So when we talk about this part of your of work, now that you are becoming a professional music artist, right? How do you think you are going to balance these two markets out for yourself?
I actually don't think about that too much because what I've realized during my time on social media and building whatever audience I have, I noticed that it's like Indians are, and South Asians in general, we are all over the world. The world is literally, it's becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And when people ask me like who's your audience, I'm like South Asians everywhere, like UK, US, India, like because I think everyone sees a different part of themselves in me. And so like maybe the Indian girls in India who are close to their culture but want to dress maybe slightly more Western, but can't figure out how to fuse their cultures together, you know, they look to me for some inspiration. Or maybe the Indian girls in America that you know, don't know how to experiment with the different pieces they have at home, like bangles or jhumkis or whatever. You know, they look to me for inspiration. So it's very much like I just focus on being like letting my soul come out in the way that it needs to in my music, in my styling. And I think that every time I've tried to fabricate something for an audience or for someone, um, it just I don't think it works because people can sniff the ingenuity like quite honestly. So, you know, like once I just randomly I was at Fashion Week and I had my Bharatnatyam braid with me. And I said, I've seen somewhere on a runway that somebody had used a braid as a tie. So let me just put my Bharatnatyam braid on as a tie. I think that will look cool. And I did that and I filmed a quick video and I was like, guys, I'm putting my braid on as a tie. And I didn't think anything of it. And that was one of my, I think, best performing videos because it just came from a
Yeah.
very natural expression. So, and again, I think that video catered to both the Indian like market in India, any Bharatanatyam dancers in India, and then Bharatanatyam dancers across the globe. So I'm not really thinking too much of like certain geographies. More, I'm thinking of the girl that's listening to my music or the person that's listening to my music. What is their, I guess, what is their want and what is their emotional state? And I just try to be authentically me, and I hope that that resonates with what they're going through as well.
Fair enough. Fair point. And possibly that's also the only way to connect with people. Otherwise, it's very difficult to sustain, a face which has been put up and which is
Yeah,
not real. And
yeah,
and as you have seen it, possibly you know it anyway better than anybody else that it gets caught. And the best way you have a very evolved community yourself. I think I saw about 157,000 followers on Instagram. You have about 9,000 monthly followers on Spotify, monthly listeners on Spotify in a very short span of time. So, while these numbers are promising, I mean, there's also a saying that in art, numbers are not everything. Which
yeah.
side
Oh
of
gosh.
which side of this debate do you find yourself? Do you think numbers are important, or do you think numbers may or may not be important? More important is that I just want to express myself.
Yeah. Earlier, if you asked me 2 years ago, I was so numbers focused. I was like, this video did 1 million, this video did 40 million, let's redo this and let's everything was so strategic. And that's why this year I've been like, take a step back. This is not the way you want to live your life. You cannot be living for the numbers. You cannot be living for the metrics. You cannot be creating for the metrics. It's the fastest way to burn out. And it's also like anything that has informed popular culture has always been number one, new, and number two, people have not caught onto it right away. And so I've understood this and I've this year my theme is meaning over metrics. I do not care, to be very honest with you. I have as I shifted into music, a lot of my audience or the algorithm or whatever, I don't want to blame social media, but um it hasn't been picking up my music content as much as it would my, you know, dupatta hacks or whatever I would do with fashion.
Yeah.
Um, and but I I'm okay with that because it might take a little bit longer for people to catch on to what I'm doing. But what I know is this is a body of work that I'm very proud of because it represents me fully, authentically, and exactly where I am right now. And I've never had this experience where I look back at my work and I feel proud of it. Like this is the first year where I've listened back to my music and I said, okay, it's always room for improvement. I still have so much space to grow, but I'm very proud of it because it's one of the few things that I feel like represents me so accurately. And honestly, and it's very scary sometimes to put yourself out there in that way. But I think that's why I feel like I put as much meaning into my music as I could. Really not worrying about commercial success or like any of that, because that does come. It comes later. And I've learned this. Any of my videos that actually did really well initially came, like I said, the Bharatanatyam braid, the dupatta hack, those were all things that just came randomly. They just literally from the universe, they just came.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So look, you've been in the digital space as a content creator, and that too in a segment which is very popular, which is fashion.
Yeah.
And music, as popular as it may sound, it's a very very tough, you know, domain to be in.
Yeah.
And specifically when you're talking about music, you're also, it means that you're creating something for uh, not just reels, right? You're creating
Mm.
something for actual consumption on streaming platforms, or not
Yes.
just on Instagram, but on various platforms.
Yes.
Apart from this, you're also setting up yourself for possibly live shows and interacting with audiences in times to come.
Yeah.
When you look back at this transition for yourself, what do you think your direction is going to be, and how are you going to take your experiences from the content creator that you have been to this and then move forward?
Yes. I think so the content creator experiences come a little bit on the like that has helped, I think, with the just the creative and production side of making a song. Um, I think that's where the content creation experience comes in. You mentioned performing. I'm so thankful, so thankful. In fact, this has informed so much in my life. My background with Bharatanatyam, the discipline that it takes, the just ability to be able to perform in front of a crowd. I think having given an Arangetram, anyone who has done an Arangetram performing alone uh, has great, I think, practice and understanding of being in front of an audience by yourself. So, although I haven't reached that stage of my artist journey yet, I'm already thinking and like brainstorming as to what I would want a performance to look like visually. Again, this mood board that I have helps a lot because it kind of gives me an idea of what I want the world to look and feel like. But I'm not at all nervous of standing in front of a stage, and that I owe a lot to, or standing in front of a crowd, and I owe a lot of that to my experience with Bharatanatyam. Now, dance is different, singing is different. So, of course, just building the muscle to be able to sing live, that's something I'm practicing. Um, but yeah, I do see performance soon. But before that, I want to keep making more music. I want to keep pushing my sound. I want to keep understanding what is, even from these four songs, each song is slightly different.
Yeah.
What did I enjoy the most? What do I listen back and feel good about? And then what are people loving the most? And right now I'm thinking, I mean, Iconic is fun. It's like a very fun song. But I think Spiraling, which was my third song, has the most of my heart in it. And somewhere I think people are catching on to that. That song I think is gaining a little bit more of a core fan base of people who are understanding me a little bit more. So yeah, with these four songs, it's kind of like experimenting, and then we'll build off of what has worked.
Fair enough. Last question before I, kind of wind up all my chats is, as an artist, what comes to you first, the lyrics or the composition?
The lyrics, because like I said, I journal 3 pages every day. So I have a lot of material to work with. And, what I've written so far, the first four songs, those are barely scratching the surface. That's like the first level of what was the easiest for me to talk about. Now for my music, I have to get into a lot more family dynamics, uh, uh, navigating a new career. Like there's so much more that I need to talk about, and so I don't think I don't think I could even stop making music even if I wanted to. It's all the lyrics are always coming out, so lyrics come first.
Fair enough. That's interesting. Thank you so much, Malvika, for taking the time out. And what's the time right now there?
It is 8:06 a.m.
Oh, it's pretty early in the morning. So thank you so much for taking your time out,
Of
and
course.
wishing you great success. I loved Iconic. I'm still to listen to all the other songs completely. I've heard them a bit, but Iconic really caught me, and it was I loved the song. Check out the artist I shared with you. You'll find a lot of vibe matching with her.
Yeah, I
Uh,
would love to. I really love the sound that we created on Iconic, so I want to find similar songs. Yeah.
yeah. By the way, how did you know about music culture?
Oh, I found one of the artists that I follow. I think her name is Shevia. I don't know if it was Shevia. One of the other artists I follow, I think she had done something with you guys, and I saw that, and I was like, "That's so cool." So I think that's where I found out about you guys.
Shavya. Okay, must be.
Shevia. I think it was
Shreya?
Shevia.
Shreya or Shavya? Shia. Shea?
Maybe it was Shreya. It could have been Shreya or Shevia. I can't remember exactly, but
Okay.
one of the fellow, I think South Asian American artists here, I had seen
Okay.
something. So yeah,
Anyway, good to have found you, and good for us that we got to know what you're doing. And thank you so much for taking time out. And we look forward to 2026 of what you're going to bring forward, and wishing you great success.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
so fun
Thank you.
talking.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.